This is Marie Segaris from Underground Crafter, and welcome to my crochet hook review for the NelsonWood crochet hooks. These are handcrafted wood crochet hooks made by Brian Nelson that are sold on Etsy. First off, let's just talk about them. I love this sort of beautiful wood grain that you get. It's really cool, and each hook is pretty unique. You can see that both of these are different widths in terms of the body of the hook. So each one has slightly, there's the same general shape, but they're not actually the same length. You can see this one is a little bit shorter, and this one is a little bit not just longer, but also wider. So what I understand from Brian at NelsonWood, who makes these, is that each one is unique, which is great. The downside would be, of course, if you wanted to get a set or something and have them all be really similar. So let's take a look at what it's like crocheting with this. So I use the knife method of crocheting, and for me, this longer hook is actually the perfect size. If you look at when I'm crocheting, it's just kind of coming to the end of my hand. Let me try it with the shorter one, because I think for my hand, the shorter one is a little bit, maybe, well, actually, I guess because, oh, never mind. So the way that he's actually centered the larger portion, it still ends up being about the right length. But I think I would probably prefer a longer one, to be honest, than this shorter one. Now, one thing to think about is the actual part, the shaft of the hook is an inline hook, so it's all the same circumference around here. And then you have this sort of larger kind of comfort hook part. I don't usually crochet with the pencil method, but I think this might be a little bit harder to grip for people with the pencil method, although I'm not too sure because to be honest, I don't know what makes them tick. So, but you can see that it's pretty easy to do. I like that even though it has a finish, the finish doesn't seem to impact the yarn in any way. The finish doesn't seem to make it, sticky or anything like that. I feel like I have just as much freedom as I would on a hook that might be metal or any other material. So I like that about it. I do, like I said, I wish there was a little bit more consistency in size, just because I feel like if I had a set, I would want to feel pretty clear about which size each one is. One of the downsides, I think, to this hook is that it doesn't have the manufacturer's name anywhere. Nowhere does it say NelsonWood on it. And it also doesn't have the size of the hook anywhere. So anytime you want to try it, you'd have to use, your hook measuring device. I forget what those are called, but like the knit checks usually have them, where you'd have to actually dip in your hook and see what size it was or go by eyeball. So that's one of the disadvantages. But overall, I find the feel to be really comfortable, and they look beautiful. So definitely a great conversation starter, which is wonderful as well. So again, these are the NelsonWood hooks by Brian Nelson. And again, if you are someone who likes an inline crochet hook, this is great. And if you need a more ergonomic hook, also great, because it allows you to have a little bit of a more open grip. The downside would be if you wanted to do any kind of dimensional stitches like bobbles or puff stitches or bullions, where you need a lot of wraparounds. You don't have a very long shaft to do that, but for most standard types of crochet, I think this would be great. And of course, if you prefer a tapered hook, you may not like an inline hook as much, and that's just sort of a general guideline. But for beauty, I think it's definitely worth it, and for conversation startingness, I think it's perfect for that as well. So that is my review of the NelsonWood hooks, and I hope you will check out their shop on Etsy.